This policy today, we're going to talk about legalizing marijuana. So Andrew Yang, in his policy proposal for legalizing marijuana, he starts off by saying, I don't love marijuana. I'd rather people not use it heavily, but it's vastly safer than people becoming addicted to opiates like heroin. Hello and welcome. I appreciate you taking the time to watch our Andrew Yang's policy series. Today we're going to talk about an exciting subject for many people and something that's new to me. I'm Rashid Hill, and I'll be your host for the Andrew Yang policy series. I like to make sure that everybody is educated on who's running for president in the United States in 2021, and more specifically, what Andrew Yang policies are. Because many times I've listened to so many of his speeches and I've listened to the debates, and people continually ask him the exact same questions over and over and over. And he continually to answer the questions professionally, intelligently, and very intellectually. Today, we're going to talk about something that piggybacks on my last series topic, which was economic crimes and reducing the incarceration rate. So how do we do that? So here's what Andrew Yang talks about in reducing the incarceration rates, because we know they're the minorities, we know that the underserved communities, and we know that people of color are adversely affected by some of the laws that were put into place a very long time ago about the war on drugs and things like this. And it did cause a very warped or lopsided degradation of our economy and our communities. So here is something that when I talk to a lot of people in my community, they want to know what is the black agenda that the president has, or the presidential candidate has. Which one has the best agenda that will positively affect our people? Well, I said this. Andrew Yang has policies that not only will positively affect the black community or the people of color communities or the underserved communities, but it will also assist everybody in bringing us on equal ground so that we can all have access to opportunities in a better way. So if you want to look at the policies and see how it will affect you in a positive way, then Andrew Yang has created a very thorough and clear way forward for all people, but definitely for people of color and underserved communities. So here's the piggyback off of my last conversation concerning reducing the incarceration rates. This policy today, we're going to talk about legalizing marijuana. So Andrew Yang, in his policy proposal for legalizing marijuana, he starts off by saying, I don't love marijuana. I'd rather people not use it heavily, but it's vastly safer than people becoming addicted to opiates like heroin. And our criminalization of it seems stupid and racist, particularly now that it's legal in some states. We should proceed with full legalization of marijuana and pardon those in jail for non-violent marijuana-related offenses. It's a safer, less addictive means to managing pain for many Americans. Like I just said, if we want to reduce the incarceration rates, he can instantly take the population of our prisons drastically down just by legalizing marijuana and allowing the people that committed non-violent crime just by possession of the marijuana. And now that it's legalized in some of the states, there are people in jail with a record, and it's not even a criminal offense anymore. So a whole topic about that does disproportionately affect, like I said, people of color, black and brown people, because they were trying to make ends meet. For whatever reason, they got involved in utilizing or trafficking these particular drugs. Now that it's legal, some people say part of the black agenda should be that when you legalize marijuana, the proceeds that come from the sale of marijuana in those areas should go to help the black community, black and brown community, directly. Since there's no reparations on the table, then here's another way that funds can come in and help to build a better platform or a springboard, if you will, for people of color to succeed or have an opportunity to succeed in the U.S., in the communities that they live. So some of the problems that he identifies is thousands of Americans, many of them minorities, are in jail for nonviolent marijuana-related offenses, even as it is now legal in 9 states. Also, federal treatment of marijuana is unclear as it remains a controlled substance under the law. Also, unregulated marijuana leads to safety issues and lack of oversight. Marijuana is still considered a controlled substance by federal law. Isn't that a very weird and nonsensical sensible way of dealing with this particular plant? The federal says it's illegal. Some states say it's not illegal. It's just really ridiculous. So Andrew Yang, he brings some clarity to how this should be handled. Thousands of our people are in jail for marijuana-related offenses, particularly people of color, black and brown people. Yet, marijuana is now legal for adult use in 11 states, the District of Columbia, and 33 states have legalized medicinal marijuana use in some form. We need to resolve the ambiguity and legalize marijuana at the federal level. This would improve safety, social equity, and generate tens of billions of dollars in new revenue based on legal cannabis businesses. So, here are some of the goals that Andrew Yang has for legalizing marijuana. Provide justice and equity for those convicted of marijuana use and possession. Provide regulation and oversight of the marijuana industry, and generate additional revenue for our society. Andrew Yang says, as president, he will support the full legalization of marijuana at the federal level and remove it from the controlled substance list. 2, expunge the federal convictions of all marijuana-related use or possession offenses. 3, identify nonviolent drug offenders for probation and potential early release. This is what Andrew Yang brings to the table. Now, I have no dog in the fight when it comes to marijuana. I have no personal opinion about it one way or the other. But when I listen to his proposal, then this is just one additional aspect of Andrew Yang's positive outlook on how to solve problems with the system, with the way government runs, with some of the intentional policies that were created to disproportionately affect one group or another. Now, as we know, marijuana is predominantly used by people of color, as well as and moving through the streets over long periods of time in history when these drug laws came into play by people of color. That's where they made their money. That's what they felt like they needed to do. Now, like I said, where I'm from, it wasn't an issue, but I understand that it was a problem in different locations around the nation. And so a lot of people of color got picked up and put in jail for minor offenses as well as major offenses. Now we have the opioid crisis, which affects the other side of the coin. More of the Caucasian persuasion is taking more of the painkillers, depression medicines, antipsychotic medicines, and most of pain is the primary relief that most of them are seeking. And so a lot of those type of drugs in today's world are being taken by not people of color. And so the terminology that's used for this particular crisis is that these people need help because they're seeking pain relief. But what we've known all along is that marijuana has been a pain reliever for years, immemorial. So, but it's been criminalized. How is this particular plant that is produced and helps so many people from babies all the way to elders and veterans is on a banned list, whereas you have opioids, which come down to drugs that are produced synthetically in order to fight pain, just as marijuana was. But it's not on the banned list, so nobody gets locked up for it. We need to do something about that, because that particular interaction or non-interaction is playing havoc on our society. And Andrew Yang has a policy for that. On his website, yang2020.com, Andrew Yang has over 100 policy proposals to implement when he is elected in 2021 for the presidency of the United States. So I invite you to take a look at Andrew Yang's policies at yang2020.com, or you can YouTube Yang and listen to some of his speeches and understand more about who Andrew Yang is and why he is so popular and why he brings a freshness and some integrity and values and will deliver on foreign policy like no other. We know what's going on in the world today, and Andrew Yang is positioned to be the best advocate for America, inside America and outside America, going forward. We need change, and we need gain. Please join me on my next topics policy series, and I'll be talking about human-centered capitalism. Thank you. Look forward to our next talk.
You, John Fitzgerald Kennedy, do solemnly swear
I, John Fitzgerald Kennedy, do solemnly swear
that you will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States
that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States